Hey everyone, Harshad this side. The secret sauce of any AI automation is data collection. But collecting data is tricky. And that's what this video is all about. Today I'm going to show you 4 best ways that will allow you to scrape almost any website using n8n. So by the end of the video, you'll know how to scrape static websites like blogs and newsletters, dynamic websites like real estate listings, if you want to scrape Amazon products, prices, reviews, or even social media websites like Instagram, if you want to scrape creators from your niche and scrape all of their profiles. So you'll know everything about scraping and data collection if you watch me do this step by step. So let's start. We'll pick the basic use case first. So this one is all about scraping a blog post and turning it into, let's say, a Google document. For now, I am storing everything within a Google document. You can further, repurpose that blog into your newsletter or some sort of like RSS feed or anything. So here, what I have is a blank workflow. It's called scrape blogs. I'll just, remove the left panel, minimize that by clicking this button. Okay, so the flow is simple. I'll add the first step. The trigger is manual. We're going to trigger manually for now. I'll add the first step, which is going to be scraping the website itself. And for scraping, that means I have some sort of URL that I want to scrape the page. So for this purpose, I'm going to look at Paul Graham blog. This is Paul Graham's webpage. Okay, he has written multiple essays. Let's say what to do. This is one essay written by Paul Graham. It's a fairly simple, essay, but Paul writes really, really powerful essays. And I personally am a fan of his essays. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape this particular page, and obviously you can scrape like all sorts of pages. You can capture their HTML using the node that I'm going to talk about. So when you click plus, we already have the page with us that we want to scrape. In the node library, the node that we're going to use to scrape this page is HTTP request. Makes an HTTP request and returns the response data. So when I click on this, I have this method get. Here I need to specify the URL to make the request to. Here I'm going to paste. Before we continue building this automation, just wanted to quickly introduce you to the school community that we have just started. It's called AI Builders Collective. That's where we are sharing all of these resources. If you want to learn how to build AI automations, agents, you want to learn how to sell them, create a business around it, I am sharing all of these masterclasses, bootcamps, templates, enterprise grade solutions that you should be selling to your clients in this community. I'm spending most of my time with the community members here, so don't forget to check that out. Link is in the description below. Paul Graham, what to do, essay, URL. Authentication, none. I don't want to send any other request, any other parameter, just this simple URL. That's all. With a GET request. GET request is, there are multiple different types of requests, HTTP requests, and these HTTP requests tell the server what you are intending to do. So a GET request, a GET method is basically to extract data from the server. So when I click on test tab here, you can see I've got the data, like the entire HTML data of this particular page. So when I say HTML data, when you right click on the page and you look at inspect, okay, you inspect this page, whatever you see here, this is like the complete HTML of this page, which we have got in response. So we have scraped the data. We have looked at everything here. So when we send a request, a GET method request to this particular URL, in the data, we've received the complete HTML. So now the next step is to be able to fetch the elements that we need. So the next step is going to be to turn this HTML into a markdown. I'll add plus here. use this node Markdown, which converts data between Markdown and HTML. So I'll click on this. The mode is set already, HTML to Markdown. And in this field, the HTML to be converted to the Markdown. So all I need to do is, first of all, turn it into expression so that I can drag and drop this data field. So this JSON.data, this contains my entire HTML, and this needs to be turned into Markdown format. Markdown is another format which is easier to work with. So now this Markdown can be written into a Google document, into any other, system or website that you're using where you are posting your blogs, newsletter, whatever. So this is the data and destination key. So if you want to name it something else, you can see the field to put the output in, specify nested fields using dots. So I will leave it as it is. And there are some options as well. Bullet marker, code block, fence, different types of elements that you want to use. So for now, I'll leave everything as it is. I'll click on test step. And this is my complete Markdown formatted blog content. The next step is that this entire Markdown, we can pass it on to a large language model and ask it to generate, let's say, a one-pager guide. So this would be a no-fluff actionable guide. We are repurposing Paul Graham's essay into an actionable guide. Let's quickly add OpenAI's large language model, OpenAI, and then message a model. This is the node that we're going to use. My credentials are already added here. Resource text, message a model, and let's say we want to use GPT 4.1. You can use mini as well, but let's try with 4.1. That should work great. And I am going to directly pass the user prompt. If you want, you can add a system prompt that'll basically be, proficient in generating one-page actionable guides. But for now, I'm directly going to add my user prompt. I've already written that prompt. So here you go. The essay, the field, the complete essay, this is the Markdown data that I am passing. The complete guide. So turn this Paul Graham essay into a one-page highly actionable guide with no fluff. Provide a title, subtitle followed by the main guide. And then what I'm doing here is I want this output in JSON format. So provide the output in JSON format with title separately and the entire content in another key. So I'm doing this so that if I want to create, let's say, a new Google document, the title of that document, I'll be able to fetch directly as a variable. Okay. So title and then the content, entire content of the guide in a separate key. So this is just for that one particular requirement that I have. And then I will turn on output content as JSON, test step. And this should give me the output in a JSON format with two keys. We'll have the output any second now. Here you go. We have the title here and then the content followed by it. Great. Now the next step is to write this into any application, any tool. So if you're using WordPress, Webflow, all these different types where you are posting your blog posts, you can select those. For now, I will simply have it written in a Google document. First thing is we need to create a document. If you already have a document and you want to update it, you can use the update a document. Okay. The first thing that we need to do is create a document here. So for creation of document, we need to add credentials. So I'll click on create new credentials. And here again, you have to add your OAuth 2 recommended, this entire step that you'll have to follow. So you can ask Assistant, start a new session and provide you all the steps that you have to follow. Okay. I would need to go to Google Cloud Console. So we'll wait for the steps and I'll just replicate all of these steps here and we'll show you how to implement them. So create a Google Cloud project. Here you'll have to go to Google Cloud Console. So Cloud Console, I already have this account with me. So if you look at Google Cloud Platform, make sure that you are signed in, first of all. So the first thing that you'll have to do is create a project. So when you will see here, by default, you would see one project selected. But if you have not selected, if you have not created any project, you will see create a project here. So when you click on this drop down from the main page, you can click on this new project And this new project, you can give like any name, any location, and you click on create. I already have this project created. This is my project, n8n API. So the next step, as per the assistant, is go to API and services. So when you go to your cloud console and open up the left panel, you have API and services here. Within API and services, we need to look into credentials. So click on credentials. We have this here, but before this credential step, they have also asked us for enabling Google Docs API. So I already have it enabled. So enabled APIs and services. If you want to enable any API, you click on this button, you search for Google Docs. So you have the Google Docs API. Try this API. I already have this enabled. You will have to click on that enable button. Once that part is done, now what we'll do is in the API and services, go to credentials. Within your credentials, you have OAuth 2.0 client IDs. So you click on this. Here, you'll be able to see your client ID and client secret. So you have the client ID and your client secret here. So all we need to do is copy the client ID, paste it here, and followed by the client secret, add it here, and the button sign in with Google will appear. So we click on this, authenticate our account, continue, and now connection is successful. This is linked. Google Docs account 3. You can further, if you want, you can rename this credential as well. This is my gdocs n8n. Save this. This credential is added. The resources document, we want to create a document here. So that's what is happening here. And the drive name, it's going to get saved in my drive. And folder name or ID, if you want to provide, you can do that as well. So I'll have n8n. And then title. Now for this particular purpose, I'll have the title selected, dragged and dropped directly from here. So this was the reason I turned it into a JSON output. Now if I click on test step, I'll see the output here. So let me open it up again. This is the ID of our Google document. The Google document should be ready with this particular name. But the thing is, the content of this content has not been added to this created Google document. So this is going to be a two-step process. The first step is create the document, and the second step is update doc. So I think this won't come directly. Let me add Google Docs and then update a document. From here, it'll ask for doc ID. My credentials, this one, update document, and doc ID is going to come directly from here. And simplify is turned on. So we'll keep it at that. Action, object text. Okay, this is the update object. This is text only. Action is insert. If you want to see, you can add like table, header, footer, all of these different types. Action insert, insert segment body at the end of a specific position, insert location. You want like at the end or any particular index. There are ways to capture that. And then text, you will drag and drop the entire content of the guide within this text field. Now that'll be all. I'll click on test step. This is the document ID that we have now. Now, once this is done, we should be able to see docs.google.com, and here you can see I have a Google document with this name, what to do, a highly actionable guide to living well and making an impact. This is the complete document that we have just created. Now, we learned how to scrape real estate listings, which are present in a Google Sheet currently. And I want to go over each of those links, scrape the listings on that particular platform, and then have all the data extracted about all those listings in a Google Sheet. So let me walk you through the use case that we have. And this is a comprehensive, very practical use case over here. So you can have a bunch of listing URLs. Just like this, I have bayut.com/for sale apartment Dubai Marina. So I can just go to this link, and here we'll find all of these different types of listings. Now, for every single listing, there's a lot of information to capture. For example, the name of the apartment, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, area square feet, amount, all these things. And we want all of this data to be further captured in this Google Sheet, where I want the title, the price, location, area square feet, bedrooms, bathrooms, agency name, listing URL. So this is the posted date. We want to extract all of this information from this Bioth site, and I'm going to do that using a library, a very common, you would be hearing about this library in all the places. It's called Firecrawl. So if you check Firecrawl, turn websites into LLM ready data, and they provide a bunch of APIs that you can use. And we'll be using Firecrawl as a service to scrape all of these websites to get all the data that we need. Now, recently, they also announced this extract feature, get structured data from single page or multiple pages or entire websites. And if you want to see view extract, this entire feature, this basically gives you the structured data that is available within that website, and you can test it out as well. So if you want to test out the extract feature, you click on extract here and go to either go in try in playground, or you look at the documentation. If you want to play around directly here, you simply just provide, what you want to do. So you provide the prompt, it creates the parameters automatically, and then it'll start exploring for you. But what we need is the API. Make sure that you have an account. So I already am signed in. So you sign up, sign in, go to your dashboard from here. From the dashboard, you'll be able to click on API keys, and from here, you will create your API key, which is going to be required to authorize yourself in order to use their API. Now, we have this extract. Here, I'll go to the documentation. The documentation page gives us all the details about how to send a request to all of these endpoints that extract offers. And there are a bunch of these that you can use. The one that we are going to be using is using their Fire1 model. So Fire1 is an AI agent that enhances Firecrawl's scraping capabilities. It can control browsers' action, navigates complex website structures to enable comprehensive data extraction. So this is the complete curl command that they have given. And we're going to be using this curl command. I'll show you in just a bit. So let's go over to n8n. We'll build it from scratch, step by step. Okay. First of all, trigger manually. This is fine. The next action that I want to take is read this Google Sheet. So I'm going to add Google Sheets, and then the action that we want to take is get rows. So we'll click on this, get rows. My credentials are already added. Sheets within document, get rows. And then I'll select the document. This is property details from Byte.com. And the links are present in this sheet called Sheet 2. So if you see, this Sheet 2 contains all the links. The name of the column is links. Great. So this is done. Leave everything as it is. If I click on test step, you would see I've got 2 items. That is 2 URLs which are present here. The first one is Dubai Marina. Second one is just plain Dubai. Great. There are 2 items and each needs to be processed individually. So we need to loop over. The concept that we need to learn here is looping. I've got 2, let's say 10 items. I want to loop over those 10 items and process them individually. For that, we have this loop node. So split data into batches and iterate over each batch. So let's select this. In our case, we want batch size to be 1. That means 1 URL to be processed at a time. That's it. Remove everything else we don't need. We'll reconnect the data, reconnect this entire loop back to Google Sheets once we are done developing our workflow. So looping over is done. Now we have got the link directly. Okay. So once we have the link, now I need to simply send a request to this Firecrawl extract API. So here, in order to work with APIs, the go-to node that you have in n8n is your HTTP request. So we'll use HTTP request. Now, how would you go about configuring configuration is probably the most tricky part within HTTP request. And they have made it pretty simple with this import curl button at the top. When you click on this, all you have to do is paste the curl command here. And as I showed you, Firecrawl is offering this curl command for the model that we want to use, the exact endpoint that we want to use from Firecrawl. All we need to do is paste that curl command here, import it, and you can see the entire configuration has been set. The HTTP method that we want to use is post, and you can see that this is a post URL. Okay, this is going to be a post request. Then we have URL, extract endpoint. Authentication is set to none, but we are going to be authorizing ourselves. So send headers yes, and using fields defined below. So the first field that we need is authorization. If you look at the curl command here, we need authorization in the header. Okay. And the API key is followed by this bearer token. Okay. So I have this bearer and then followed by my API key. I'll copy my API key from here. So this is my API key. I'll paste it here. That's it. So authorization is done. And then since this is a post request, I need to define my body. The body is JSON data that is going to be sent to my extract endpoint. So this is an expression. Let's turn it into an expression. And now I'm going to change this body. Now, extract, if you see, takes a bunch of things. It takes the URL that you want to scrape. Then it takes the prompt. What do you want to extract from this URL? And then you have to specify the schema, the structure of the data that you want to scrape from this URL. And then the required parameters, and finally, which agent you're using. In our case, there are many listings on the Bioth website. I want to extract all of these listings from the site. So our schema is going to look a little different. I have already figured out the schema that I would need in this case. First of all, the URL that we need to work with is going to come from Google Sheets. This is the link that we want to use. So link is going to come from Google Sheet.item.json.links. Now, before defining our JSON, let's quickly run this loop over items as well. This will give us the link here. So now if I go back to my JSON, let's remove this one, although this would work as well. I'll just drag and drop this links. So the link, the URL, you can see here, the Dubai Marina first URL would come in here. Now we need to change this schema because we want to extract all of these data fields, title, price, location, and this is all coming from the sample curl command that the documentation of Firecrawl offers. Great. So we'll change this, and here what we need is we are going to extract properties. So we'll specify this property. This is not the real estate property. These are the properties that you want to extract. So here, schema, type object, and then within properties, I'll have listings. We want to extract listings, and this listing is going to be of type array here. So all I need to do is I already have figured this out. So I'll just copy and paste the entire properties section. So you can see properties, then we have listing. It's of type array. That means I'll have multiple listings. Then within each listing, I want to extract all of these properties. So title, price, location, bedroom, bathroom. This is the complete JSON of the data that we need to extract from this URL. That's it. You can take help of ChatGPT as well. You can ask AI to write and, extract this entire piece for you. So that'll become easier. Now the AI agent at the end, the model, agent model, Fire1. If I click on test step, this should send a request, authorize ourselves with Firecrawl, and give us the extracted data from this URL. The thing is, when you send a request to this particular Firecrawl endpoint and ask it to extract data from this URL, it takes some time. Scraping takes time. So we need to wait. We need to add a wait node here such that this wait node, wait before continue with execution. So we'll add this wait, and here from what we have seen, it takes a couple of minutes. So we'll add like a 3-minute wait so that this HTTP request is executed successfully. So I'll just click here and test this particular step. Now this is going to wait for a while, and we'll make sure that we have all the data coming in from the extract endpoint. The only thing is, extract endpoint works in 2 steps. The first step would fetch the data, will scrape the URL, but it will not give you the data directly. So here you see, we have got this ID. We've got the ID of the run of the request. We'll have to send another request, HTTP request, and this time it's going to be a GET request that we are going to send. Now within this GET request, I would fetch the results of the previous request. So here, if you see, they have provided method to extract data. So here you go. Asynchronous extraction and status checking. So since this particular request takes too long to run, we'll use this particular endpoint here. So all we need to do is copy this curl command and again use import curl. We'll remove everything here, paste, import. So this will set up this particular endpoint for us. To make this work, we need to specify, as you can see from here, we need to specify this extract ID. So it has not successfully imported because the node is currently running. We need to use this. We need to use this endpoint. If I do check. All right. So let's set it up manually here. This is the URL that we want to fetch from. So extract ID is, we'll add it directly from the left node execution. And then we'll use send headers. Here we'll again do authorization and then bearer space your API key. We'll have to authorize ourselves, and you can see the execution has already happened. Now from this left ID, I will add it here and remove the space. So this would become my complete URL to which I need to send a GET request in order to get the data and status check for the previous request that we sent. So what has happened here? In order to get the status, the response, everything, we are sending another GET request along with the ID of the previous run. That's it. We don't need to send any body. This is a GET request. I'll click on test step here. Again, as soon as I click on test step, it'll take like 3 minutes to run, make sure everything is there. So before this runs, now the next step is going to be that this will give you like a JSON data, and that JSON data needs to be written back into these individual columns. Okay, that is going to be another task for us. The JSON needs to be turned into specific variables, which would have, let's say, if I'm scraping 30 listings. So I'll have 30 titles, 30 prices, 30 locations. So in order to map all that JSON data into specific variables, we're going to write some code. So let's set up that code as well while this is running. I'll ask for the code node, run custom JavaScript or Python code. Now here, you don't have to get intimidated by this. This is going to be pretty simple. Actually, you can be very smart and you can leverage AI here. So all you have to do is go to the JSON button, copy this entire JSON, and you can ask ChatGPT, and I'm not using any plus, there's no subscription here. Look at my prompt, write JS, that is JavaScript code for my n8n flow to map all the listings data into the following fields in a JSON format. And then I have just pasted all these headers that I have within my sheet here, title, price, location, and then the incoming JSON, the JSON that we have just copied. We went to JSON, this JSON I have pasted here. And when I hit enter, this is the code that ChatGPT has given us. Raw input with these results, and then we are returning the results. I will simply copy this code, remove everything, and then paste it. This is it. And now if I'm going to click on test step, the wait time, everything is going to like start again. So you can see this will again wait for like 2-3 minutes. And now once the code runs, I will have all of these variables with me here in the output. And after that, it's going to be very easy for us to use Google Sheets. And here I want to use append or update row in sheet. We'll again select the document. We'll select the sheet. This is going to be the data sheet where I want everything to be captured. And here I will select map each column manually. So from the left, I will continue to like title, price, location, area, square feet. I just have to drag and drop each of these variables that I'll get from my code node. So columns to match on, you can just select anything. This is like the column to use when matching rows, because this is append or update. If there is an existing node with the same title, we'll just update that node. So title is what we have provided, although we don't really care in this particular case. And at the end of it all, because this is a loop, I just simply have to connect it back to my Google Sheets. So this will complete my entire loop. Here, whatever number of rows I will extract from Google Sheets read action, I get, let's say 10 URLs. Those 10 URLs are going to be processed in the same way here. 1 item, 2 item, 3 item, this loop will run 10 times. And that is your complete flow. Now we'll wait for this loop to actually run. Or in fact, what we can do here is we can stop this execution, and I'll show you how the entire workflow will run. This has just started to scrape the URL, and we'll now wait until it is done. So we can see that it has run. Now it's time for us to quickly just map everything. This is the schema. We have got all of the variables. You can see all the variables are with me. Title, price. Now in the Google Sheets, I think it has not run because we did not have these mappings here. So now it's time to just simply fetch all of these mappings: area, square feet, bedrooms, bathroom, agency name, listing URL, and posted date. That's it. I will test this step and check. Okay, I think it's going to again execute the entire step. This is running for loop 2. And once this is done, now this time we should have all of these fields correctly fetched within our Google Sheet. So let's just wait for this. So we see that this is done. And now, moment of truth, we'll just open up our sheet, and there you go. We've got 27 properties from this URL here. This lecture is going to be focused on leveraging RapidAPI as a platform and leveraging one of their APIs, which is Amazon reviews. And we are going to extract all the data about these 3 coffee products that we have chosen ourselves. So I have a list of these 3 Amazon products here, and the kind of information that I'm looking to extract using an API from the RapidAPI marketplace is product title, review count, how many reviews are there, rating count, how many ratings are there, average rating, how many people have reviewed 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, and also the top 10 reviews on that product. So that's the kind of data that we want to extract. Now, this sort of information is very hard to capture using, traditional scraping mechanisms. And also you can do some bit of it using Firecrawl, but not all. And that is where we start talking about platforms like RapidAPI. So if you go to rapidapi.com, this is an API marketplace. Again, a lot of developers, a lot of businesses, partners are using their APIs, as they are providing more than 40,000 APIs for you to work with. So we'll see how we can leverage any API endpoint provided by RapidAPI and start building workflows with it. So The use case is pretty simple. We simply have to read the Amazon product URL. Obviously, this URL list is something that we are going to maintain ourselves. So everything is captured here. We're going to loop over all the Amazon URLs from each URL. Again, you cannot just directly pass in the URL and it works. No, that's not how this entire solution would work. We look at the API first. So you first have to understand what is the API parameters. So let's quickly see what API we are going to be using from RapidAPI here. So make sure that you have signed up. You have to sign in. I already have an account, so I'll just quickly sign in here. And you can look at the number of APIs that they offer. So real-time LinkedIn scraper API. You have Zillow. You can, again, for using this sort of platform, you can scrape the listings from Zillow. Real-time LinkedIn scraper, again, Facebook scraper. Then we have Twitter API, Instagram, YouTube. So all sorts of data is available. I can also search. Let's say here in our case, we are looking to get data about Amazon products. So one of the biggest and also one of the most commonly used API for Amazon products is this XSO. So I'm going to use this Amazon data service over here. You can see all the endpoints. Each use case is an endpoint. If you want product detail, you have product detail here. So if you see parameters, you can look at what sort of parameters you'll have to provide. So here, simply provide the URL of your Amazon product. And here, they give you the code that you can directly import into HTTP request node of your n8n. We are interested in reviews here. So this is the entire structure. I have the API key and all of these. Obviously, you'll have to, put in your card here, because without the card, I don't think RapidAPI would allow you to, send requests. So make sure, and it's pretty cheap. It's not very expensive. I haven't incurred any cost yet. I've run like multiple APIs, but if obviously the usage goes up, you'll have to pay for it. And then I have this params here. So in params, domain code, is it going to be, .com URL, .in URL, what sort of URL domain you have? So if you change n here, you can see the URL also over here, domain code is equal to n. So this is something that we'll have to work with. Okay, so let's start building this workflow. I am going to trigger this workflow manually. So trigger manually. The first step is to read all the product URLs from the Google Sheet from this product URL column. So I will add sheet, Google Sheets, get rows, and here credentials are already added. Amazon reviews is the name of my sheet, and I will select the right sheet here as well. And let's test this step. I've got the product URL with me. Great. Now I have the product URL, but I need the ID in order to use this particular API endpoint, Amazon data service. And I need this as an ID, product ID. So in order to do that, there are like multiple ways. One is you can write code. And another thing is that you can use large language model. Obviously, you can take help of ChatGPT, ask it to write JavaScript code, and then you can leverage it here. But there's another method, which is messaging the large language model here itself. But before that, if you notice, I've got 3 items here. So 3 items means that I need to loop over each one of these one by one. So test step, we've got 1 item. I'll remove this. We'll reconnect the loop later. For now, we'll go down this route, loop, add, and now I'm going to leverage large language model. So OpenAI, message a model. This is the node that we're going to use. The large language model to use here is going to be 4.1 mini, should be good enough for us for this particular task. And the prompt, let's turn it into expression and write the prompt here. The prompt is going to be very accurate, and this will allow us to fetch the ID from this product URL. So it is pretty simple. I need to extract the product ID from the product, and I can say Amazon product URL provided below. The ID is usually, I have also specified how to identify the ID from the URL. The ID is usually the part after the string DP. So there's something called DP. If we look at all of these URLs, there's this DP slash, and after this, what comes is the URL. And in order to be like more precise, we can further provide an example. So for example, I can copy a part of this URL. If my Amazon URL is this, my product ID is, this is going to be my product ID. So now I can ask it. Obviously, we need JSON outside of it because that will turn this variable into a key, which we'll be able to like refer to later in our workflow. So I'll directly be able to pass it on to my HTTP request when we are going to configure the RapidAPI endpoint that we want to use. So output, provide the output in a JSON format. So format is going to be simple. The key that I want, the variable name, product ID, and then this is where the ID is going to be. So that's it. And finally, my product URL, I am providing the product URL as well. Okay, this is my complete prompt. Let's run it and see if this works. And one other thing that I'll do is output content as JSON. I will turn this on. So that's it. Let's quickly click test step, and there you go. We've got the product ID, and you can see this is the one, B07K6J8WV4. This is what we have fetched. The next step is very clear. We need to configure our HTTP request here. So this is a GET request. So let's quickly bring in our HTTP request node, and it's very, very simple. Let me show you how easy it is. I've already configured my request here. These are all the parameters. This is the curl command. Simply copy the curl command, go back to your HTTP request, import curl, and here simply paste. Just paste that curl command here. Click on import. Everything is set up for you. Everything is set up for you. You don't have to do anything. And now the product ID is going to come from this variable, because here in this particular configuration, the curl command that we have copied, this is obviously over here, like the as in command. This is this particular ID. So for me, the API key, etc., everything is present over here, and that's how I will be able to authenticate myself. So all of this is present within the curl command, your API key, tokens, etc., everything that you need. And then the parameters we have already provided. We have removed the sorting. We have removed the filters. We just need the raw data for now. If you need filters, etc., you can use those as well. That's it. I will click on test step now, and we should be able to get, okay, you can see Nescafe Gold instant coffee, and we've got rating, etc., all the details. Lovely. Now, one thing that we should note here is the reviews. The reviews that we have got: review 0, review 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 0 to 9. That means 10 reviews. I've got 10 reviews. And if you test the endpoint here also, you'll get 10 reviews from this endpoint. Okay, 404 client error. I will use n endpoint. Let's see if, okay, reviews. We'll remove this. We will use this ID, test the endpoint here. And this time you can see we have 10 items. We have 10 items, and that's what we've got. We've got 10 reviews, which were there on the product page. So we've got a lot of detail: number of reviews, number of ratings, product rating 4.5 out of 5, then review summary, how many people 5-star, the percentages, what percentage of people have, given 5-star rating, 4-star rating, 3-star rating, so on and so forth. Now, all we have to do is simply map all these things to our Google Sheet. But before that, another thing that's required for us is all these reviews. It's a number of items. It's an array. it's not one single text. We need to turn it into one single text blob. So in order to do that, we'll use the code. So within the code, all we have to do is here, we can ask ChatGPT. I'll just simply open up ChatGPT here. All we need to do is copy this entire JSON, and here I can ask, turn all the reviews into, you can write JavaScript code to turn all the reviews into one single text blob containing numbered reviews in a string and return the response in JSON format. That's it. It's important that you return something out of your code blob. So return the response in JSON format and always write JavaScript code, specify what you have, and then incoming JSON. So this is it. You might have to just figure out what sort of fields you want to use. So this code, you would need to make some adjustments and then it works great. So let's see the code that it gives us. Okay. As in product title and then review text blob. So it is giving us three things here. We don't want this. So we can copy this, or you can say we just want review text blob. Okay, so it'll just update the code for us. Okay, this is done. Let's quickly paste this here. And there are going to be some changes that we'll probably have to make. Review, or see, it is written a function. We will ask it. Usually, it's better that we don't write a function. Don't write a function. Simply give me the code. Okay, that's it. Instead of logging, return the JSON output. Okay, let's see what we have here. Return results. So return text blob. Data is data 0. So instead of data, we basically will simply pass on all the reviews here. So we'll remove the first line of code. This is where like all the reviews are coming from. So instead of this, we will simply pass on all the reviews are here. Semicolon, because in JavaScript, every line of code ends with a semicolon. I'll just test this step now. And we've got the review text blob here with the key. Everything is running fine. And the last step now for us is to simply map all the values within my Google Sheets, append or update row. This is the action. Choose the document. Here we have sheet 1 already selected for us. Sheet 1, map each column manually. The column to match on, let's say product URL, using to match. Okay. And let's quickly pass on product URL here. Then product title, etc. Everything is going to like come from our HTTP request. So product title, count reviews, product rating is going to come average rating, count ratings is going to come in ratings count. Then we have 5-star percentage, 4-star percentage, 3-star percentage, 2-star percentage, and finally 1-star percentage. And the review text blob is what we have generated above. Everything is done, smooth and sound. We just have to keep an eye over here. And the last step for us is going to be to put this back here so that it runs in a loop. I will click on test workflow now and let's check. Everything is running. The data should start coming in now within our sheet. There you go. Nescafe, all the data from the API. Second row is done. And finally, the third row should also be there with us. There you go. And similarly, you can fetch 10, 100,000 Amazon products and keep your competitor track or even like a database of all the products that are out there within your niche. So that's how you use RapidAPI within n8n. We've seen Firecrawl, we've seen basic scraping, we've seen RapidAPI. Now, one more API hub that you will keep hearing about all over the internet is Apify. So Apify is again another marketplace that you should definitely check out. This is the full stack web platform for web scraping. There are all sorts of tools, all sorts of APIs available for you to, start collecting data. There are many people who are using, the TikTok data extractor, Instagram scrapers, Google Maps scraper, Amazon scraper. Whatever we did in the last lecture, we can also replicate the same thing using one of Amazon scraper provided by Apify. So they have a bunch of these actors, as they like to call it. So you can search from their entire repository. There are 4,500 plus actors, and these actors are basically the kind of scrapers that you need. So there in RapidAPI, we were calling them APIs. Here we basically call them actors. So make sure that you're signed up, you are signed in, and here click on this button, go to console, and you'll be able to look at all sorts of actors that you're using. If you have not used it ever before, this is going to be empty for you. But in our use case today, we are going to create this Instagram creator database. So what does this mean? There are many people in the marketing space who are trying to reach out to creators in their space. So if I am running, let's say, a skincare brand, people usually search for who are the creators who are posting about skincare. So I would basically try to scrape this hashtag of skincare, find out all the creators, and basically what we want is their usernames. So first thing is we'll scrape the hashtag, we get the username, and then the second query that we want to make is to scrape this user's profile. So we are also going to scrape Instagram profile and then store everything within our database. For now, this database would be Google Sheet. So we first have to scrape the hashtag, get all the users, scrape the users' profiles, and have it all stored here such that anybody from the team can then reach out to these folks, and ask them to create content for your brand. So again, this is going to be part of the Instagram, creator outreach that many brands do. Let's start building this. The two actors that we need to use, and I'll tell you how to figure out those actors. First is Instagram hashtag scraper. So if you search for Instagram hashtag, you've got Instagram hashtag scraper. You click on this and you'll get to this page where they tell everything about what this scraper does, how it works, what the kind of data it gives you. And you can click on try for free. It'll take you to the console page where you will be able to configure this. Now you see how it works. Instagram hashtags, we simply need to provide the hashtag and it'll start fetching the results for you. You can provide the number of output you want. Now, how would you go about configuring this? That is the main part. Let's start building this n8n workflow. So this time I'm going to trigger the workflow with a form. So on form submission, and I'll provide this is the URL of my form. I'll provide hashtag scraper, provide hashtag to scrape. There's going to be only one field, which is hashtag. That's all. This is a required field. That's it. Now, if I come here, I'll click on test workflow. This will open up the form for us. Here, I'll simply pass skincare. That's it. And I'll click on submit. The form is submitted. This has run successfully. If you see, I've got the hashtag here. Next comes the HTTP request. Now we need to pass on this hashtag to our API endpoint, the actor that we want to use, which is this Instagram hashtag scraper. For this, again, we will configure this using HTTP request. Now, what sort of information we want to add here? There are a bunch of ways to do this, but I'll tell you the easiest way. When you come to any actor, so I currently have Instagram hashtag scraper open. Click on API Then go on to API endpoints. Now, the endpoint that we want to use here is we want to run this endpoint like through and through, fetch all the data that you have got for this request of mine, and then give me the results. I'll wait for it. So this is run actors synchronously and get dataset items. So I want the output as well out of this. So there's this URL, there's a post request that I'm going to be sending to this endpoint. I'll copy this URL from here and select post. Then I'll add the URL. It contains my access token as well. And authentication, you can leave it as it is, none. Send headers. You can turn this particular setting on if you want to send any sort of like header. Otherwise, you can turn it off because authorization is happening through the URL itself. Send body. Yes, I want to send body and body content type JSON. Correct? Using Firespill? No, using JSON. I'll provide the JSON. Now, where will this JSON come from? This is the body. This is the request parameters that I want to send. So close this. Here, I have skincare written. You can write like any particular hashtag and you have JSON. This is manual. You can also look at the JSON version of it. You can copy this entire JSON and paste it here. So currently I'm fetching 20 results from this endpoint. So I can now test this step for this hashtag, but this hashtag is currently written here. We can simply drag and drop. So whatever hashtag the user wants, we'll be able to fetch that. So we'll move this here. This is going to become our final request. Let's see if this runs. Otherwise, we'll add headers for our authentication, and content type is going to be application and JSON. We'll provide all those details as well. Let's see if this works. It'll take some time, and meanwhile, you will be able to see what is working. So I have on the left panel runs. Runs will tell you what all actors are you executing currently. So you can see here itself, I have got this actor succeeded with 20 results in the dataset, Instagram hashtag scraper. This I have just run. So this is the latest one at the top, and you can find all of these results have now come in. All the results, all the different usernames, etc. There are a bunch of details you can look at. If you want to just visualize all the details, you can look at this run as well by clicking over it, and it will load the entire data. So these are like a bunch of posts, text, who is the author username, and this is what we need. Author username. This is what we are going to fetch in our next request. So this is working fine. We've been able to scrape the hashtag. Let's also rename this node. So this is my hashtag scraper from Apify. Now we'll leverage, you can see 20 items coming out of it. We'll leverage this to send another request and scrape their profile. At the end of it all, I want to create this database which contains name, bio, URL, followers, and you can further add like more information. I want to use a profile scraper now. So again, you can follow the same steps just like we did here for hashtag scraper. You can go to all actors, and we can look at the Apify store from the left panel. Yeah, correct. So I'm going to be using this particular actor, which is Instagram profile scraper by Apify team. So there are a bunch of actors that Apify themselves, maintain. So I'll use this particular endpoint instead of the earlier one that I used. I'll replace that. So copy this URL. And by the way, you can remove the token from this URL and turn on headers and then provide authorization, the bearer authorization token. So that is another way of authorizing yourself. For now, I'm just passing it in the URL itself. So JSON, obviously that's not saved. For JSON, again, we'll look at the JSON and copy this, paste it here. This is the entire JSON. So this is going to be the request. We'll paste it here. So you can see that the usernames, this requires the list of values, and we'll fetch the usernames from here. So username is somewhere over here. They've got owner's username. We need to use this owner username here. So okay, so this is the one that we want to use, and now we can send our request. We can test this particular step as well, and it will continue to send requests for all the 20 users we have got. And once this completes, the next step is to simply, oh, there's some error. Payment required, perhaps check your payment details. Okay, so you can see that the number of requests. Yeah, so we have reached memory limit. So this is above the free tier. So to make this work, what we'll do is we are going to reduce the number of Instagram creators. I'll test this step. So we'll do it for 5 so that we are not going over memory limit, because I'm on the free tier. I haven't paid for anything. This is free. And if I upgrade, then I'll be able to use more memory. So we are paying for compute. Let's test now if this should work for 5 Instagram users. And the last step would be to simply have everything written in our Google Sheet. So this is run. Now we'll append rows, select the creator list. We have sheet 1. We'll map columns manually. The name, full name over here. You can have the input URL, the Instagram URL here, the bio here, and number of followers. They'll have their followers number here, followers count. And obviously you can add like more details, whatever you want. So this is done. Now if I'll simply click on test step, I should have the data written here. There we go. So these 5 creators, we have captured their data, their bio, their URL, everything. So this is how you use Apify within n8n. All right, that's it. Hope this was helpful. If you want to learn how to build these AI agents, automations, end to end, you want to learn how to create complete applications without having any sort of coding background, do check out my school community, AI Builders Collective. That's where we share all sorts of resources, masterclasses on all the different types of automation platforms that are out there, like n8n, make.com, Gumloop, Lindy.ai. And if you want to further create full stack applications, we also teach how to connect these automation platforms and databases with platform like Lovable, and you can create complete ecosystems, AI infrastructure that you can further sell to your clients. Now, AI automations is one part of the puzzle. The other part is how to create a business around it. So everything, all the resources are coming into this school community. Do not forget to check that out. I'll see you guys in the next one.